Hi guys, on this occasion we will discuss a film entitled Life Free or Hard. This film tells the story of a detective from the New York City Police Department who is asked by the FBI to bring in a hacker who will help deal with a brief computer blackout of their cybersecurity division. Without further ado, let's just take a look at the storyline. The film begins with showing a group of young people who are making a special code at the request of a certain party. It seemed like a tournament with a briefing by the central operator. In the news it is said that hackers who successfully complete the task on the orders given, they will get a reward of $50,000. But instead of $50,000 they got it was just a trap in the form of a huge explosion that occurred on their computer. Then we are shown a hacker named Matthew Farrell. Maybe he will also get the same thing. On the other hand, at the FBI's Washington, D.C. Cybersecurity Division office, while in the midst of their busy life, suddenly all the computers turned off, which was hacked by a woman named Mylin. Knowing that it happened, division head of cybersecurity named Miguel Bowman ordered their men to search for hackers all over the country to be able to solve the hacking problem. Then Sin moved to another place where there was a pair of lovers who were busy in a car, the woman named Lucy M.C. Klein and her boyfriend Jim. When in the midst of their busyness suddenly a man came to separate them. The man turned out to be Lucy's father named John M.C. Klein. John did not want his daughter to be hurt. But it turns out that Lucy and her father are not very close. Even Lucy scolds her father because her father is too super protective. And not long after that, John got a call that he was assigned to find one of the hackers named Matthew Farrell to help fight the hack that had occurred in the FBI office. It turns out that John is a senior detective from the United States FBI. Then elsewhere we are shown how Farrell is talking to a member of a cybercrime organization. In the middle of the conversation he did not realize that his computer had been entered by a virus, and when Farrell was about to press the delete button later, the same thing would happen, namely a big explosion. Exactly the same as the hacker who was caught in the trap at the beginning of the film. But fortunately Farrell's fate was different. When he was about to press the delete button, suddenly someone came knocking on his door. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we are shown some members of a cybercrime organization will do a plan B, which, when the hacker's computer cannot be detonated, then they will kill him directly with gunfire from a distance. While on the way, John immediately contacted the nearest police via radio in his car to report the shooting that had just occurred. While the two surviving criminals report the situation, he calls May to inform them of their current condition. Knowing their action has failed to kill the hacker named Farrell, the woman immediately informs the superior named Thomas Gabriel. It turns out that this Thomas Gabriel is the leader of a criminal organization. I am a professional, and he has his own headquarters. Besides that, he also has many professional workers both in the internal and external departments. And he is also supported by various complete equipment. He even ordered a helicopter to immediately track and follow Farrell during his escape. While the other team is seen hacking the traffic control system in Washington, which will wreak havoc on transportation.
Begin stage 1.
Back to John. When they were stopped at a red light, they didn't know that the transportation security system had been hacked. Then John decided to take Farrell on foot to the FBI office. They were not satisfied until the cyber gangs hacked the railroad tracks. Besides that, the FBI also received information about the damage to their computer system, as well as water lines and local telecommunications networks. Even Gabriel hacked into sounding the alarm in the building, sending everyone out in a panic. Then Gabriel again launched his attack, which is referred to as the second stage, namely by changing the display of the stock exchange screen. He made it seem as if all the stock exchanges had crashed. This of course made the atmosphere on Wall Street very chaotic. Well, John, who has now succeeded in bringing Farrell to FBI headquarters, is again shocked with a display on the local monitor that seems to have been hacked by Gabriel. The show featured a random video criticizing America's security system, which was deemed utterly useless. After watching the broadcast, Farrell immediately knew that what a group of cyber criminals was doing was called FireShield, a program that was intended to attack the entire national infrastructure. Through 3 systematic steps, starting from the first stage destroying the transportation system, the second stage of the financial system and telecommunication system, the third stage destroying all the resources in the country such as gas, water, electricity to nuclear. So they intend to destroy the country and dominate it. There, John felt that Farrell's explanation made a lot of sense. And John told Bowman about the importance of Farrell's role in this case for the United States. Then Bowman decided to take Farrell to the FBI headquarters. Not long after, a voice came from the car radio starting to give directions to them, but Farrell, who was familiar with the voice, realized that it was the voice of a woman who had been giving him directions. It turned out that Gabriel had known the profile of John, and from this, it was also revealed that John had divorced his wife. Even some of John's savings were hacked to empty all the balances in his bank account.
Mr. Farrell in the head.
What do you think I'm gonna have to pass, Jerkoff?
After John refused, suddenly they were immediately attacked by helicopters that had been following them. But Gabriel, who did not stay silent, he also hacked the tunnel. He then opened 2 opposite directions to make a tremendous collision.
Open the other side. What?
Not quite there. It turns out that criminals who use helicopters have been waiting in front of the tunnel to finish them both off. But John has an idea to crash his car to make the helicopter fall apart. Then one of the assassins named Ren survived a helicopter crash. He gave a report to Gabriel that John and Farrell had died on the spot. Then Gabriel again continued his action with the third stage, where this time he only ordered his team to enter the FBI server room with the aim of getting all important data from the country. Not only that, he also asked May to disguise herself as a member of the FBI and head to a predetermined location. Then Gabriel also hacked all television stations by showing video footage of the White House being suddenly destroyed by a huge explosion, and it turns out the video footage is just a fake display. Seeing the actions that have been carried out by Gabriel's plot, now Farrell can predict what actions will be taken in the next stage. Farrell said that they will most likely take action directly on all existing systems in America. They will now not hide behind the virtual world, but take real action armed. By having a cell phone, PDI Farrell was able to find the location of a power plant which he believed would be the target of Gabriel's group, which aims to turn off electricity in the United States. Realized that John rushed after them. While on the other hand May and her colleagues had disguised themselves as the FBI, they had arrived at the power station first. When John and Farrell arrived at the power plant, he was immediately greeted with a gunfight.
Let's go. Playtime's over, sweetheart.
Don't stand up.
As fast as you can. Hey!
Then John uses a car to hit May and throw her to the bottom of the elevator. Gabriel realized that May had been killed by John. He ordered his men to drain all the gas from the underground pipe to direct it to John's location. On the other hand, Bowman is able to reveal who is behind this extraordinary cybercrime. It turns out that the culprit is Thomas Gabriel, who turns out to be Bowman's old colleague, who once served as chief programmer at the Cybersecurity Division of the United States FBI. Gabriel was fired from his position and thrown away. The reason was because Gabriel gave a strong protest to the government about the country's security system, which was still very weak, but his protest was ignored by the government and resulted in the dismissal of himself.
What gas?
As a result of the gas explosion, several areas no longer have electricity, including Lucy, who has to be confined in an elevator because of a power failure. John and Farrell, who had saved themselves from the explosion, John will use a helicopter to go to a hacker named Warlock, who is a friend of Farrell, and is believed to be the only person who can help him in this Kali case. By using the Warlock skill, he quickly found a location that he believed to be Gabriel's headquarters. While Gabriel, who realized that a hacker had entered his system, immediately ordered his subordinates to find out who this person was. Gabriel also knows that there are Warlocks in Farrell. He immediately threatens John by showing Lucy's condition, who is confined in the elevator.
Still alive, ain't I?
Yeah?
Hello?
Yes, this is emergency services calling. Everything is gonna be...
Then Gabriel told his men to pretend to be FBI agents to save Lucy from the elevator. There, John saw that Lucy was being threatened. John and Farrell immediately rushed to Gabriel's headquarters. Not long after that, John and Farrell now arrived at Gabriel's headquarters. They secretly entered through the ventilation duct. Farrell then turned on the alarm system that allowed the FBI to find out the whereabouts of Gabriel and his gang.
We don't have 20 minutes. Let's go.
While Farrell, who had managed to get into the main server room, began to take over the system there, but in the end it was caught by Gabriel's men. Not long after that, one of Gabriel's men informed that the feds had just directed his fighter jet to their location. Knowing the base was no longer safe, Gabriel immediately fled in a truck along with Lucy and Farrell. Meanwhile, Bowman was on his way with some FBI members in a helicopter to get to Woodland. John, who knows this action, asks Warlock to connect him via radio channel to notify Bowman of the whereabouts of their target who has escaped. But unfortunately, Gabriel knew of John's actions, so he tried to hack into the radio on the fighter jet and ordered the fighter jet pilot to target a truck driven by John.
That's your best shot!
Meanwhile, Farrell, who had taken over the system by returning all of Gabriel's hacked money, is now being ordered to return all the money he hacked.
Headed this way.
And unfortunately, John was shot by another of Gabriel's men, so he is now being held captive. Realizing the position of Gabriel, who is currently right behind his body, John deliberately shot to penetrate his body. And not long after that, the FBI team came with help. And at the end of the film, Farrell is shown being treated by the medical team. Then John goes to him and thanks him for saving Lucy. Then the film ends. If there are mistakes or missing words, we apologize. First of all, the storyline of the film Life Freer Heart